Hello dear students, let's now try to solve this question asked in GATE 2005 exam. It's a 2 marks question. Let me read out the statement. A 5-stage pipelined CPU has the following sequence of instructions. Then you're given this sequence. It has 5 stages. Just have a look at these stages, which are IF, RD, EX, MA, WV. And then also just have a look at this program. There are only 3 lines in the program. And they're asking, let each stage take 1 clock cycle. What is the number of clock cycles taken to complete the above sequence of instructions starting from fetch of I1? Okay. So I've noted down this program that they're trying to execute and also these 5 stages. Now just have a look at what is the meaning of these stages. First one is instruction fetch. The instruction is fetched from memory in this stage. Then in RD, we decode the instruction as well as we read the register. Yeah. Then in execute, it's all the ALU operations and effective address computation. In memory access, we access the memory. And now just have a look at this line. For write accesses, the register read at RD stage is used. For write accesses, that means in this MA phase, this is memory access. You can access memory for 2 purposes, either to read memory or to write. Okay. Whenever you want to access memory for writing something, you are going to use this stage also, RD stage. Okay, this means operand forwarding is not possible for this kind of instructions. Okay, that means store instructions. So be careful, operand forwarding is not possible in store instructions according to the question. Anyways, let's move ahead. Then there's this WB stage, it is write back. The question reads WB for register write back. Yeah, register write back. Now, if you remember, we have already studied this pipeline. It's actually the classical 5-stage pipeline, the RISC pipeline. Okay, I hope you remember that. Anyways, you can go back to the theory lectures and have a look at that video. Okay, now let's analyze this program. The first thing that you can notice is this. Instruction I1 is a producer instruction, whereas I2 is a consumer instruction. That means the value produced in this instruction I1 is being used by I2. That also means both of the instructions cannot be executed in parallel. That means this R0, the value read from the memory, there's some memory location LOC1. From that memory location, we are reading some value and we are placing it into this register R0. Okay. Now the thing is, this value is used in the next instruction. That means the next instruction needs to wait until this value has been written by instruction I1 into register R1. Okay. Similarly, you can also notice, I think this is R2. Okay, let me just verify. Yeah. No, that's correct. So this value R0 produced in instruction I2 is being used in instruction I3 also. Okay. That means similarly, this instruction I3 is a consumer instruction for instruction I2. I2 produces some value which is used by instruction I3. Okay. So now let's try to solve this question. First, we are going to try without any operand forwarding, without any split phase whatsoever. Okay, actually they haven't clearly mentioned in the question that we need to use operand forwarding or not. But the options are going to make it clear. We'll first try to solve it with operand forwarding and we'll see if we find our answer. So let's try instruction I1. It needs 5 clock cycles because they've clearly mentioned in the question that each stage needs 1 clock cycle. Okay, so these are the 5 clock cycles required by I1. The stages are IF, RD, execute, memory access, and write back. Okay. Next, we'll be trying to execute instruction I2. So now you notice this register R0 is updated in this phase, in WB phase. Here. How do we know that? Because it's mentioned in the question, WB means register write back. Whenever you need to update some value in a register, it will be done in this phase. Okay, that means R0's value will be updated here. So we cannot use this or this clock cycle for reading R0. Okay, that means RD must be performed after this stage. So RD must be performed here. Because anyways, if you try to read here, it will be reading the older value, anything, any garbage value present in R0. Okay, because obviously it has to be done after memory access phase. Okay, because memory is being accessed in 4th cycle. And even after accessing the memory, we are updating that R0 in WB. Okay, so the RD of I2 will be done in 6th clock cycle. Then I don't think so that there will be any problem for I2. We can just take 3 more clock cycles to complete this instruction. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that will be done in 9 clock cycles. Next, let's try this instruction I3. Okay, so similarly you can see this value R0 will be updated in write back phase. That means until this write back phase is completed by instruction I2. That means till this point. Till this point, the instruction I3 cannot read its required values. Okay, so R0, because it's updated after or rather in 9th clock cycle, so it will be read obviously in 10th clock cycle. Okay, here. So let's do that. So it's going to take 13 clock cycles in total. We don't have 13 in options. Okay, you can just copy these 4 stages, that is RD, EX, MA and WB here. RD, EX, MA, W, or let me do that. This is the entire diagram without using any operand forwarding, any split phase whatsoever. Okay. Now we didn't find 13 in options. let's try to reduce our answer, because anyways 15 can be directly rejected. Our answer is obviously going to be less than 13. Okay, can it be made 12 somehow? No, because if we try to combine two phases in a single clock, yeah, we have studied that technology, that is split phase, in our theory lectures. Then you can notice we can combine these two in one clock. That means earlier we required 13 clocks, now it's 12. But the thing is, you will also combine these two, okay? Because the value is already known in this fifth clock cycle, because write back has the value, okay? Write back stage has the value, it's just about to update the register. Now this stage has the value and this stage RD requires the value. So value can be directly passed on in one clock cycle only. Okay, that's split phase. Anyways, we have discussed split phase in great detail, and we have also discussed the limitations, like where we cannot use split phase. For example, if some value is being calculated, this WB stage already had that value. Value was calculated in execute stage. No, sorry, rather value was fetched from memory. Yeah, so value was calculated or available in this MA stage. Okay, so in such cases we cannot just apply split phase, because in this MA stage value was not already available. It has to be fetched in memory, from memory. So MA would require entire clock cycle. Parallelly, if it were execute, still we cannot use split phase. Okay, because execute does not already have the value. It will execute the ALU operation and then generate the value. Anyways, let's not go into detail because we have already discussed it. So answer here comes out to be 13 minus 2, because we have combined these two stages. So we have saved one clock cycle here and one clock cycle here. So 13 minus 2 is 11, which is still not present in the options. Now you realize that answer is either 8 or 10. Okay. It's very easily visible that A part has to be answer. Because if we go on reducing further using operand forwarding, you realize that MA will forward its operand directly to the execute stage. Okay, like let me just draw that diagram. And how many clock cycles are we saving here? More than one, obviously. More than one will be saved here. The value is available in. Okay, anyways, let's draw the diagram only. Think I need to erase this. Okay, let's try. So what I've done is, I've executed the first instruction as it is. It required only 5 clock cycles. Obviously 5 stages, all of them have to be executed. We can't reduce it any further. Now let's try to execute this instruction number I2. Let's see what happens here. The instruction fetch phase is executed. Then we also execute this RD phase. Okay. Because the operand is only available here. Whatever operand is fetched by this RD stage, RD is going to read the register and it is going to read this register R0 because this value is required. But currently in this third clock cycle, R0 has not been updated. So it is going to read the old value or the stale value. Okay. That means the value read here is wrong. Mind it, the value is wrong. What happens next is we'll have to stall one cycle because memory access phase will take this much time. Only at this instance of time, that means after completing the 4th clock cycle completely, it will get the value that is to be written into R0. Now what will happen is we'll just begin the execute stage. You will say RD has read the wrong value. How are we able to execute without updating that value? That is because of operand forwarding. The operand read here will be forwarded to this stage. Okay. Whatever is the latest value that is yet to be written into R0 will also be given to the execute stage. Now we can just continue our normal execution. We have done till this stage. That means 2 more clock cycles are going to be required by I2. Let's just give it 2 more clock cycles. 4, 5, 6, 7. So in 7 clock cycles, we are able to complete I2. Complete till I2. That means probably answer is going to be 8. It's visible from here also. Okay, because we'll also use operand forwarding in this I2 and I3. Now we'll just fetch the instruction fetch. Then let's see the value it requires is again R0. Yeah. So here you'll probably have to stall this cycle. Okay. Then you'll just begin with the execute phase. Now you might ask what happens to RD. RD can be performed here. That is really dependent on the hardware. Actually, we cannot be very sure if RD is performed here or here. In this in instruction I2 also, you can't be very sure that RD is performed in 3rd clock cycle. It's dependent on the hardware. Like if the hardware is so intelligent that it can also skip this RD phase, because already the comparators might tell that this value input of this instruction is same as output of this instruction. So maybe RD is completely skipped. Anyways, the thing is EX will only occur after MA. Okay. You cannot combine these two and say EX will also be done in 4th clock cycle. No, 4th clock cycle certainly has to stall. Then the question is, why not place RD in 4th clock cycle? Like we combined or we just placed IF and RD adjacent to each other in I2. Why not do that here also? Because RD will place values into buffer. Okay, that might just mess up the things. That's actually dependent on the hardware. I'll not say anything here. Anyways, then we'll execute, just perform execute stage. After that, we'll require 2 more clock cycles. Okay. Let me just complete it. MA and WB for I2, MA, WB, parallelly MA and WB for I3. So in total, you can see we required 8 clock cycles. So your final answer is option A, 8. Okay, one thing, how is operand forwarding taking place in this I2 to I3? First of all, you see, after performing this arithmetic operation, the value is ready. That means, unlike I1 to I3, in I1, the value was ready in memory access phase, rather after completion of memory access phase. But in I2, the value is ready just in this execute phase only. Here value was available in MA, here value is available in EX, because after execution only we'll just perform this ALU operation. That means we can forward the value from this phase directly to this phase. Okay, you need not wait till MA like we did in I1. In I1, the value was forwarded after completion of MA, because that's the point where value was available. But here in I2, the value will forwarded after the completion of execute only. So this execute will forward the value to this execute. Actually, the stage is same only. We don't have like two hardwares. Let me just draw a little diagram. Say these are the 5 stages. Forwarding from execute to execute means this is the execute stage. This is the value set generated. Forwarded from execute to execute means this. The stage will reuse that value. Okay. Anyways, now you can see your answer is option 8. And I've purposefully shielded many things from you. There's a lot to be explained here, but it's not actually required for this question. I'm shielding that information just to keep this video short. Anyways, it's already, I think, I don't remember, but I can just keep on teaching for hours in such topics. Okay, so let me see if something important is missed. Okay, I think I've explained all the things. Anyways, for my satisfaction, let me just explain this thing again. First thing is this RD can be placed anywhere in these two. Rather, we are not very sure where it is done, or it's even maybe skipped by the hardware. And this RD cannot be placed here, because this RD, if you place it here, let me use another color. If you place this RD here, it might mess up with this execute stage. Okay, because this RD is again going to update the input of execute stage, because this one is read stage. Whatever it changes will affect the execute stage. Now the hardware has once already taken care of RD stage executed by R2. Okay. Then by placing it here, we are making it even more complex for the hardware. Anyways, no one cares. It's not a theoretic exam. You don't need to show such diagrams. What I recommend is just completely skip this execute RD stage whenever operand forwarding is done. Okay, you just skip it here also, from here also. Simply take into account the operand forwarding. Okay. Yeah, that's all for this question. I hope to see you in the next videos also.